Hi everyone. So in this video we are going to cover the analysis of the critical reasoning section of the open mock which was conducted on 28th of August 2022. So if you talk about this section, the first passage was on Ranveer Singh's photo shoot, which was related with the similar photo shoots which took place in the past or similar events which took place in the past. So here we started with the photo shoot of Ranveer Singh which appeared on the magazine. It was widely shared and it was inviting various exclamations and eye rolls. And it is not the first time that the actor, a male celebrity, has done so. इससे पहले भी बहुत पहले हुए थे. यहाँ पर इसमें exemplify किया गया है कि मिलिंद सोमन, अनिल कपूर, आदित्य पंचोली, जैकी श्रॉफ, they have done similar photo shoots in the past as well. And as expected, there was an FIR lodged and there were complaints raised against them. Shilpa Shetty also found herself in court in the year 2007. That is what it is saying, because one of the events wherein she was kissed by some Richard Gere, there it was the complainant, she said that she did not protest at all. So यहाँ पर ऐसे बहुत सारे events हुए हुए जहाँ पर इन चीज़ों को लेकर के basically एक issue create किया गया है. Now 25 years पहले भी ऐसा कुछ हुआ था मिलिंद सोमन के साथ, wherein he and his fellow model was posing for an advertisement wearing only sneakers, और उसमें उनको 14 years लग गए थे उस particular case से बाहर आने के लिए. So it was such a long legal hassle that which was not actually appreciated, right? Then again यहाँ पर author का mainly ये concern आया है क्या actually हमारे लॉ को या फिर मेजेस्टी ऑफ लॉ को इतना ज़रूरी है आना कि हर एक केस को इतनी इंपॉर्टेंस दिया जाए. That is a concern being raised by him. So let's see the first question. Which of the following will the author not agree with? The ambit of so-called offenses is only growing bigger and wider. So this is what the entire crux of the passage is. कि जैसे जैसे टाइम बढ़ता जा रहा है वैसे वैसे इसका स्कोप भी बढ़ता जा रहा है. B की बात करें, a whole range of so-called misdeeds from nudity to scenes from decades-old films is causing outrage. Again, this is clearly mentioned. बहुत सारे examples given है. So B को भी agree करेगा for sure. C की बात करें, it is up to the state and its instrument to ensure that such offensive actions are preempted. Now C is a little distortion of the idea which is given here. Author ये नहीं कह रहा कि you need to stop this. Author is saying that the state has to act in a rational manner and it needs to interrupt wherever it feels that it is a necessity. जहाँ बहुत ज़रूरी हो वहीं interfere करे, otherwise it is not at all required. So it is not asking to stop it. So therefore C is the correct answer. Here the author does not necessarily agree with option C. Moving ahead, let's come to question number 107. The author's main concern in the passage is that option A, many such instances have been blown out of proportion and made a significant legal issue. That is what it is saying कि रणवीर सिंह की फोटोशूट से लेकर के अगर आप बात करते हो past events में, like if you talk about Shilpa Shetty, if you talk about Milind Soman, wherein there were some legal complaints taking place and then some basically the legal events took place wherein they were acquitted for almost 14 years, and Milind Soman and his counterpart was also basically released or acquitted of the case filed against them after 14 years. So obviously it becomes a huge legal hassle which is not at all required. So option A is the main concern कि ऐसे बहुत सारे instances हुए हैं जो which was not required but it was blown out of proportion and it made a significant legal issue, right? So option A is the correct answer here. Then coming on to option B, people are outraged at anything and everything which is a poor reflection on the cultural cohesion. No mention of cultural cohesion of the society is mentioned in the passage. Therefore, this is ruled out. Celebrities need to be more cautious as they are precedents of similar instances being legal wrangles. It is not only about celebrities, it is talking about which is not acceptable by the society. मतलब यहाँ पर लोगों ने basically किसी भी इशू को आउट ऑफ प्रोपोर्शन ब्लो आउट किया है विच इज नॉट रिस्ट्रिक्टेड ओनली टू सेलिब्रिटीज. सो सी इज ऑल्सो रूल्ड आउट. डी, गवर्नमेंट शुड नॉट अलाउ पीपल टू फाइल फ्रिवलस केसेस ऑन द प्रिटेक्स्ट ऑफ बीइंग मॉरली आउटरेज्ड इज अगेन अ डिस्टॉर्टेड आइडिया. सो डी इज रूल्ड आउट. ऑप्शन क्वेश्चन नंबर 108 पे आते हैं. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग विल कैप्चर द एसेंस ऑफ द पैसेज? Pictures of an unclad Ranveer Singh is causing national outrage. It is one of the small basically fact, premise which has been used. So this is not the essence of the passage. B, people have right to feel offended and protest against objectionable pictures. Again, this is vague. See, state has more important things to do than moral vigilantism over nudity. This is what the author main concern was, taking the examples of Ranveer Singh, Shilpa Shetty, Milind Soman and Jackie Shroff, ये जो past events को उन्होंने relate किया रणवीर सिंह के photoshoot के साथ, and then finally asking the most important question, that is the state, the law of majesty is actually required to interfere in each and every such cases which may not be that important. So that is what is getting reflected in option C, that state has more important things to do than moral vigilantism over nudity. This is one aspect. So हर एक केस के ऊपर आपको विजिलेंस रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, आपको इंटरफेयर तब करने की जरूरत है जब इट इज वेरी वेरी मच रिक्वायर्ड फॉर यू. सो सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर. Then coming to the next question, author has mentioned the example of the old case of Soman and Sapre to highlight that Soman is a habitual offender. No, इसका वो motive नहीं था. Such seemingly ordinary incidents can snowball into massive legal hassle. That is what it is saying कि जो बहुत छोटा मोटा केस लगता है वो actually over a period of time, like Soman, he was acquitted for almost 14 years. He was acquitted after 14 years. So it became a long legal hassle for him, which was of no sense. So B makes sense here कि जो क्यों इसके एग्जाम्पल को हाईलाइट किया, टू प्रूव दैट कि ऐसे छोटे छोटे ऑर्डिनरी इंसिडेंट्स भी इट बिकम्स मैसिव लीगल हैसल. सो हियर बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. सी, सच केसेस ऑफ पब्लिक ऑब्ससिनिटी हैव बीन हैपनिंग अर्लियर आल्सो. दिस वाज नॉट द मोटिव. ये तो वैसे भी बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स दे चुके हैं. पर्टिकुलरली इस एग्जांपल की अगर अपन बात करें, इट वाज टू हाईलाइट द फैक्ट दैट इट बिकम्स इनटू लीगल हैसल. सो आंसर बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर हियर. Coming to question number 110. In the first sentence, the react of exclamation and eye rolls. What does it signify or highlight or indicate? That is what we have to judge here. Indicate that people were aghast by the photoshoot. Aghast is extreme use here, so A is ruled out. Highlight the fact that people were expecting the protest and objections. No. Underline the impact that actions of Ranveer Singh has on the public. It is not about Ranveer Singh impact on the public, so this is ruled out. Reflect the fact that although not unprecedented मतलब it is unprecedented meaning क्या होता है? Unknown. So it was not unknown, it is something which is already known, but the pictures were shocking. Hence option D is the correct answer here. Let's move on to the second passage here now. So first passage, I believe the questions were not that tough. The passage was easy to read, it was easy to comprehend, and I believe that a student who has gone through the passage very carefully could have scored easily somewhere close to 3 or 4. So अगर आप 5 के 5 करेक्ट ऑप्शन देते हैं, करेक्ट आंसर्स देते हैं, वेल एंड गुड. अदरवाइज एटलीस्ट 4 करेक्ट was expected out of it. So even if you scored 4 correct and 1 wrong, your score would be 3.75 in the first passage easily, which was manageable. Now coming to the second passage, which was about the again a photo shoot, but this was related to the President Zelensky and his wife Olena Zelenska. So here what it is saying is that ki everything is not required to be made fashionable, everything is not required to be sold. Here in a war-like situation, in a tragic situation where the human cost is very very high, the photo shoot which was being promoted by the Vogue magazine in order to sell, in order to draw comments, in order to attract viewers, in order to attract people, this was not at all advisable. And in fact the author has also finally asked Zelenska and Zelensky both that you should actually do something which will help you to get assistance from the West as well. So this was the entire crux of the passage here. Let's come to question number 1. The expression relaxed standards imply. Relaxed standards with view to the information age, wherein we are talking about the social media here. It is obviously talking about the enhanced permissibility, that everything is permissible there, whatever you want you can float. So option C is the correct answer here. Stress-free environment and diminished scrutiny is something which is vague here. Liberal mindset is a very very extreme usage here. So C is the correct answer. In the context of the passage, next question, in the context of the passage, which of the following can infer to be the best fit for the blank in the statement? Photoshoot of Ukraine's president and first lady makes a blank out of war. So here the photo shoot of Zelensky and Zelenska here, which has been taken by the author an example, is to prove that देखो कैसे इसने एक content create कर दिया for the people to talk about, for people to create an issue out of here. So therefore this is a content thing that they have made a content out of the war. क्या photo shoot ने. So answer is D here. It was very easy. Then question number 113. Which of the following serves as a plausible explanation of the reason for the author to write this sentence? Zelenska and Zelensky may need to pose to grab the West attention and assistance. So if you look at the options one by one कि क्या reason हो सकता है author के इस sentence के पीछे लिखने का कि why they need to pose to grab the West attention and assistance. Number one, author wants to belatedly invoke empathy for the embattled couple. No, it is not about the couple. So first is ruled out. Author anticipates the likely justification for the actions of the couple. C say author attempts to rationalize the inexplicable behavior of the couple. No, this is also not done. D, author strives to play devil's advocate is something vague. अगर B की बात करें, author anticipates a likely justification for the actions. वो यही कह रहा है कि जो आपने किया, जो फोटोशूट आपने दिया, which was not required, wherein आपने बहुत ज़्यादा ऑस्टेंसिबल तरीके से फोटोशूट करवाया, which was not required here because it was a war, like it is a war situation. So herein the author is anticipating the justification and that is why it is asking कि आपको अब वैसे ग्रैब पोज करना पड़ेगा जिससे आप वेस्ट के असिस्टेंस को ग्रैब कर सको. So therefore answer is option B here. Then which of the following would best explain the notion of the bygone era? अगर अपन इस पैसेज पे चलें, बाइगॉन एरा की बात कहाँ हुई थी? So here if we look at this, the problem, if there is one, is from a bygone time when there was a notion that not everything needs to be made pretty, not all of it is patient for the consumer. मतलब something it is saying that आपको चीज़ों को कई बार उसी तरीके से पोर्ट्रे करना होगा the way it is. You don't have to make it fashionable, you don't have to make it sellable. So which option clearly catches the idea here? If you look at option C, sometimes it is necessary to show things exactly the way they are. That is what they are talking about. They mentioned the notion of the bygone era. So here answer C is the correct answer. Question number 115. It can be inferred from the passage that the author is writing the statement. There is also a stylist, a style assistant here and makeup artist in the team in order to showcase. It is very obvious the author is trying to say that this were those people wherein it was not at all required because you went for a photo shoot wherein the war is going on. Journalist समझ में आता है, reporter समझ में आता है, but then people like this is just to show, to glamorize the total event and therefore this was totally unnecessary. So option A, redundancy, which is unnecessary, extravagance, which is a flamboyance kind of thing, you can say ostensible. So therefore A and B is something which the author is trying to showcase here. Answer D, both A and B would be the correct answer here, right? So let's move on to passage number 3 now. The passage number 3 was an economy based passage, but the passage content was very easy. अगर आप इसको पढ़ते तो इसमें कुछ facts given है and the questions were direct. So अगर यहाँ पर बात करें तो it is talking about the slowdown in developed economies and पर्टिकुलरली इन यूएस की बात कर रहा था जहाँ पर सेंट्रल बैंक ने पॉलिसी को टाइटन किए टू फाइट द सर्जिंग इन्फ्लेशन. और फिर उसके बाद इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द टाइटनिंग ऑफ द मॉनेटरी कंडीशंस जो आउटपुट को इम्पैक्ट करेगा. देन वेरियस डेटा बीइंग रिलीज्ड एंड देन टॉकिंग अबाउट द लेबर मार्केट एंड द अदर थिंग्स विच वाज let's say the slowdown in China and recession in US जिसकी वजह से पूरे वर्ल्ड के इकोनॉमी को इम्पैक्ट झेलना पड़ा. फिर लास्ट पैराग्राफ में इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इंडिया की आरबीआई की फोरकास्ट और फंड के फोरकास्ट में कितनी सिमिलैरिटी थी लेकिन फिर भी एंटिसिपेशन से कम ही ग्रोथ प्रोजेक्टेड है यहाँ पर. सो लेट्स सी हियर क्वेश्चन नंबर 1. Which of the following will not necessarily strengthen the idea of the first sentence of the passage? So let us look at the first sentence of the passage here. 2 years after the global economy went through one of the most severe economic downturns in recent history, the economic outlook is once again clouded as IMF has slashed growth forecast for present and next year. So यहाँ पर ये कह रहा है कि 2 साल ऑलरेडी द ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी दे वेंट थ्रू द मोस्ट सीवियर इकोनॉमिक डाउनटर्न्स. बहुत सीवियर इकोनॉमिक डाउनटर्न्स देखने को मिला था 2 साल के अंदर और अब इकोनॉमिक आउटलुक वंस अगेन इट इज क्लाउडेड। क्यों? क्योंकि आईएमएफ ने अपने ग्रोथ फोरकास्ट को बहुत कम कर दिया, स्लैश डाउन। सो अगर मैं इसकी बात करूं तो मुझे इसको स्ट्रेंथन करना है, नॉट नेसेसरली स्ट्रेंथन पूछा है। सो ऑप्शन ए सेज International Monetary Fund has slashed its forecast for global growth this year to 3.2% down from, तो ये तो slashing down की ही बात कर रहे हैं, so this will support the idea. B, the latest growth projections of IMF come on the back of the world economic growth rebounding to 6.1% in 2021, belying the low forecast. Belying the low forecast मतलब something which may not be actually true, something which has been projected falsely. So latest growth projection जो IMF का है वो किसके ऊपर बेस्ड है? Something which is not correct. So therefore this actually takes into account, this puts a question mark on this particular thing, whether actually it is going down. Yeah, there is a rebound here, right? So B can be something which is not strengthening the idea here. Let's see option C. A more severe revision in growth expectation for next year has been projected at 2.9%, down 0.7 percentage points. So it is again going down. So C is not. And D, all of the above strengthen the idea of the first sentence. No, this is wrong. So here the correct answer would be option B, because B is something which is not strengthening the idea. And the question asks you to find out not necessarily strengthen. So there are quite a few students who actually miss out on the words like not. So be careful, because it is asking you not to strengthen. Therefore B here goes to the correct answer. Coming to the next question, which of the following can be inferred from the sentence? In large part, the lowering of growth projections is driven by expectations of a sharp slowdown in developed economies, the US in particular, as central banks tighten policy to fight surging inflation. So अगर इस particular statement की बात करें तो यहाँ पर it is trying to say that central banks are taking in action wherein they are tightening the policy. Their objective is to fight surging inflation. So if I take this line in particular and you look at option A, policies which encourage growth may lead to increase in inflation. So to fight the increase in inflation, you are tightening the policy so that you can lower down the growth projections here. So that means if we are advocating those policies which will increase the growth projections, obviously it will increase inflation as well. So therefore option A is the correct answer here, right? Then coming to the next question, which of the following can constitute to be the factors affecting the slowdown in USA? Current macroeconomic environment of slowing global growth has been mentioned in the passage. Tightening of monetary condition and policies, again it has been mentioned. Subdued growth drivers like output, consumer expenditure, labor market. All of these points have been mentioned in the passage somewhere. So therefore answer here would be option D, that is all of the above. Can be simply referred to the passage to get the answer. Now next question, what is the purpose of the last sentence of the passage? So let us again come to the last sentence of the passage here. The last sentence says, for India, the fund has lowered its expectation from 8.2% to 7.4%. This is in line with the RBI's forecast, which expects growth at 7.2%. So if we look at the starting of the last para, it is talking about the projections made for India, wherein RBI's forecast is in line with the fund. The fund lowered the expectation from 8.2 to 7.4, and the RBI has also forecasted that the growth will be somewhere around 7.2%. However, now here is a counter argument. Even by the RBI's own assessment, growth will average just about 4% in the second half of the year. So actual growth which is anticipated will be far less than what has been expected by RBI and the fund. So why this is so? Because इसके just पहले वाले पैराग्राफ में आपने देखा होगा consequences of the global slowdown, mainly in China and US. If you see here, a recession in the US, differences in the definition notwithstanding, along with a sharp slowdown in China, the fund has lowered its growth forecast for the country by 1.1 percentage point. This country, mind you, is not India, will have grave consequences for the world economy. So this consequences on the world economy has also a bearing on India here. So here this idea is basically caught in option B. India is not immune to global economic scenario. So globally जैसा इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट होता है वो कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया पे भी उसका इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है, wherein you can clearly see from the last para. Hence answer is option B here. 120. Which of the following is not necessarily true as per the passage? Central banks tighten policy to fight inflation. The global economic outlook appears to be worsening. US and China slowdown is pulling down Indian economy. Fed is expected to further increase policy rates. Central banks tighten policy to fight inflation. This was something which is the action taken by them, obviously, to fight the surging inflation. The first is obviously true. The global economic outlook appears to be worsening. It is already mentioned in the passage कि already 2 साल वो इस चीज से जूझ रहे थे और अब further the growth projection has been lowered. So B is also true. US and China slowdown is pulling down Indian economy. No. The impact which US and China slowdown will have on the world economy, that is something where where India is not immune to. So therefore it is not US and China slowdown is pulling down. This is not conclusively inferred from the passage. So hence option C is the correct answer here. Let's move on to the passage number 4. Now passage number 4 is all about the gold won by Neeraj Chopra in the Olympic, and then it was taken further by the finalist and various people who reached the finals of the Olympics but then the author at the same time has raised his concern over the future of the Indian sports, wherein it is lacking in talents. So if we look at the first question here, which are the, वैसे ये पैसेज काफी इजी था समझने में, अगर आप पढ़ोगे तो इसको आराम से समझ में आ जाएगा. Let's come to the first question. Which of the following can definitely be inferred from the passage above? Neeraj Chopra's individual performance was better in Tokyo Olympics than World Athletics Championship. No, this is not definitely inferred, because just because that he got a higher position there does not necessarily mean that his performance was better. So A is not correct. Medals won at World Athletics Championship has more prestige than the medals won at Olympics. Again, this cannot be definitely inferred. World Athletic Championship is followed as avidly by the people as Olympics. No, this is a distorted idea. D. Neeraj Chopra's throw did not cross 90 meters in either of the two events organized at Tokyo and Oregon. So if you look at the last line of the passage, so we worry where the next Neeraj Chopra is when this one is still honing his game, still training to make a 90-meter throw, still training to make a 90-meter throw. That means this is something which has not been achieved by him. So in the previous two events which has been talked about in the question, it is quite possible that the throw was less than, it is definitely that the throw was less than 90 meters. Hence, the correct answer here is option D. Coming to the next question. Which of the following would explain the following statement? It is all these finalists taken together that make this India's best ever showing in a more meaningful way. So option A says it suggests a future of more numerous and diverse podium finishes. It suggests that reaching the finals is as good as winning. It suggests that some of them lost out on a medal due to sheer bad luck. It suggests that India has never had so many finalists before. D is ruled out. India had never had so many finalists before is wrong. Best ever showing in a more meaningful way doesn't mean that इतने finalists पहले नहीं थे. C. It suggests that some of them lost out on a medal due to sheer bad luck has not been talked about. So C is ruled out. It suggests that reaching the finals is as good as winning, and it suggests that a future of more numerous and diverse podium finishes. Yes, it is all these finalists. तो इतने सारे finalists taken together जो इंडिया के बेस्ट एवर शोइंग इन अ मोर मीनिंगफुल वे इसको शोकेस कर, दैट मेक इंडियाज बेस्ट एवर शोइंग. दैट मीन्स इतने सारे न्यूमरस नंबर ऑफ फिनिशर्स वर देयर एंड बहुत डाइवर्सिफाइड एरिया से थे, अलग अलग स्पोर्ट्स के थ्रू थे. सो देयरफॉर इट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट डाइवर्स पोडियम. न्यूमरस मतलब क्वाइट in numbers, and therefore the future of this finishes, because this is something which has been taken by the author as the best ever showing. So option A is the correct answer here. Coming to the next question. Which of the following will capture the main idea of the passage? Author welcomed and actually hailed Neeraj Chopra and the other finalists of the Olympics who won medals for India. But then at the same time he raised his concern that what is the future of the Indian Olympics, like he asked for Olympics 2024 and 2028, like he asked in the last sentence of the passage here. So the main idea of the passage will be captured wherein it takes into account whatever we have discussed abhi. So option A, celebrate Neeraj Chopra, but do ask where the next world-class medal winners in sports are coming from. Yes, you celebrate the present time, but then again you need to be concerned about the future, which is clearly reflected in option A. Neeraj Chopra is a silver lining in the general gloom is a very negative tone. B is ruled out. World Athletics Championship showed that India has regressed. No, India did not regressed. It actually improved. So C is also ruled out. India needs role models who can inspire the future generation to achieve glory on international stage. It looks a probable answer here. D is the choice which may be taken after A, but why D can be rejected? Because it is not talking about the sports arena. Here the passage is in the context of the sports, while D does not mention sports at all. Therefore D is ruled out. Answer A. Option A is the correct answer. Which of the following has been called by the author as resource intensive endeavor? Training and development of athletes, popularizing sports in hinterlands, pursuit of sporting glory. So resource intensive endeavor की अगर अपन बात करें तो something which author is saying that हमें क्या ज़रूरत है आगे. So pursuit of sporting glory is something which he is looking at, which he is eyeing at. Option A and B are the ways wherein you can actually convert your dreams into a reality, wherein you can achieve this sporting glory. So these are the ways which will make you achieve sporting glory. So we are in the pursuit of sporting glory. Hence C is the correct answer here. Question number 125. The expression still training to make a 90-meter throw has been written by the author too. It is actually, if you look at the passage, it feels that the author has written the statement to show that Neeraj Chopra has not achieved it and still training to make it. No, author's objective was something else, because you need to read this line in the context of the passage. The passage says that, so we worry where the next Neeraj Chopra is when one is still honing his game. Where? Still training to make a 90-meter throw. Matlab already he has achieved something which was below 90, but now he is training his game to 90. So present is taken care of by this Neeraj Chopra. What about the future? Next Neeraj Chopra kahan hai? So what is the author actually trying to communicate from here is, underline the challenge ahead of Neeraj Chopra. No, it is not specific to Neeraj Chopra. A is ruled out. Highlight the fact that Neeraj is in pursuit. No, again it is talking specifically about Neeraj, so it is ruled out. Suggest that it is better to allocate scarce resources toward Neeraj. Again it is talking specifically about Neeraj. Gone. Answer. Advocate for talent hunt while Neeraj is a role model. So it is saying that at present Neeraj is there. We need to look for talent. We need to look for the future prospects, which is clearly reflected in option D. Hence, option D is the correct answer here. Now, let's move on to passage number 5. Passage number 5 was about arrest of Partha Chatterjee in money laundering case, which belonged to the TMC political party. And then the passage further moves ahead, talking about how TMC actually gave an aid yet refused to take action against Chatterjee, though it was found that the aid of Chatterjee had cash with them. At the same time, the irregular recruitment of school teachers has been talked about, wherein the link was created with Chatterjee, but TMC tried to defend. Though it tried to defend, but the author says that the try is self-defeating. It is very, very unconvincing, right? Then it comes to various other points here, when it talks about कि कौन-कौन से scandals या schemes आए थे जिसमें corruption की बात हुई है. But then it also tries to say that where TMC is trying to expand its footprint beyond West Bengal, and Mamata Banerjee is trying to making an attempt to make the moral high ground on a range of issues. It is trying to portray itself as a national leader. From probity to transparency, the corruption within undermines her credibility. Though it is trying, but the corruption within the organization, within the political party, is actually putting a question on the credibility. It needs to do justice to the mandate it's got. TMC's action against Chatterjee may not clean up the mess. It could signal that when it assured the state Paribartan, this Paribartan is actually a Bengali word which means change, and which can be clearly inferred as well from the lines used here. It needs to do justice to the mandate it's got. TMC's action against Chatterjee may not clean up the mess. It could signal that when it assured the स्टेट परिवर्तन, इट्स प्रॉमिस ऑफ डिस्ट्रॉइंग स्टेटस को वाजंट एम्प्टी. तो स्टेट परिवर्तन का मतलब यहां पर डेफिनेटली इट इज ट्राइंग टू से दैट द चेंजेस आर रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द गुड. एंड चलो एनीवेज, लेट्स मूव ऑन टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 126. Author is likely to accuse TMC of all of the following except orchestrating the Sharda Ponzi scam and Narda scam. Author did acknowledge that कि TMC political leaders were involved, they're embroiled in the scam, but orchestrating is something wherein you yourself promoted it, you planned up, you cooked up the idea. So this is a wrong option. Option A is something where the author is not accusing TMC. So A is the correct answer here. Then coming to the next question, which of the following is the underlying assumption of the statement that TMC has since won multiple elections and with formidable majorities, but curiously it hasn't used its political space to flush out the corrupt and wash the taint. Okay, only the party which acts against the corrupt wins election. No, this is wrong. सिर्फ वही पार्टी जो corruption के against में act करती है जीतती है election. It is not the idea behind, it is not the assumption behind this statement. This is wrong. A party which wins election is obliged to act against corrupt. All parties which wins election take a strong stand against corruption. Taking a strong stand is not talked about. So C is ruled out again. So if you look at option B, a party which wins election, जो पार्टी इलेक्शन जीतती है वो उनकी मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है कि वो करप्शन के अगेंस्ट में एक्ट करे. दैट इज व्हाट इट इज सेइंग. इट हैजंट यूज्ड इट्स पॉलिटिकल स्पेस टू फ्लश आउट द करप्ट एंड वॉश द taint. So it was expected out of that party that because you have won the election, therefore you should act against corruption. Hence here the correct answer is option B. Moving on to the next, which of the following action by TMC is author likely to condemn? Fire Mr. Partha Chatterjee, confront growing corruption within, don't use the excuse of ED's dodgy reputation. All are mentioned somewhere in some part of the passage. Therefore here answer would be all of the above. This is something which the author would like to say, which would the author like to advocate. Yes, these are something which is expected by TMC. Hence D is the correct answer here. Next question, which of the following is not necessarily an example of paribartan? As I said you earlier, paribartan is a Bengali word which is used for change. So A, reversal of the policies of previous government clearly reflects change in it. Repealing the laws which the present dispensation believes is not in interest of the people. Again, it is trying to communicate a change for better. Retracting the government orders which, again, change. Retaining the key features. आप key features को retain कर रहे हो, but you're not changing something. Therefore, D is something which is not an example of paribartan. Here, the answer is option D. Then, in the last paragraph, which of the following has not been mentioned as a reason for TMC to become proactive in tackling corruption of its leaders? Let's see. Option A, the resultant dichotomy when it preaches honesty to others to facilitate the promotion of Mamata Banerjee as a national leader. Oh, this is a distorted idea. यहाँ पर it is not at all saying that promotion of Mamata Banerjee as national leader. No, TMC is trying to expand its footprints beyond West Bengal. But Mamata Banerjee को national leader portray करने की कहीं भी बात नहीं हुई है. So answer is option B here. Coming to the last and final passage of this particular section, where it is talking about the MSMEs and the various challenges faced by MSMEs because of the various events which took place in the last few years. So let's talk about the questions here. I'll not take much time in making the passage understand. Which of the following can be concluded from the passage? If I talk about option A, payment delays by public and private sectors are crippling MSMEs. This is what it said here. कि payment from the public and private sector are actually creating a problem for MSMEs. MSMEs also face another peculiar problem, that is of delayed payments. And then in the coming paragraph, it talks about the public and private sectors which actually delayed the payments, creating problem for MSMEs for the working capital and other things. So therefore, option A is correct here. Let's move on to option B. Public and private sectors must pay what is due in all sectors. All sectors makes it wrong. Labor intensive segments have seen a sharp increase in the sales over the past few years. No, labor intensive segments have not seen a sharp increase. It has actually seen something else. यहाँ पर percentage of delayed payments as compared to the overall sales have increased, not the sales have increased. So therefore C is also ruled out. Answer क्या हो जाएगा? Option A. Coming to the next question, which of the following about MSMEs the author may not necessarily agree with? MSMEs employ maximum part of India's labor force, this is something which the author is not saying, that it employs the maximum part. The word maximum is ruled out here. So it does not necessarily agree with yes. A is the correct answer. B, MSMEs are also suppliers to the larger economy. Yes, they do it by because they have links with the formal and informal sectors in some way or the other. MSMEs financial distress has far-reaching consequences. Yes, it has its impact. It is given in the passage. Appropriate steps should be taken to ease the woes of MSMEs. This is what the author is also saying, that some action must be taken so that their problems also get solved. Then, which of the following, and this has been reflected in the last para, which of the following has not been mentioned as one of the key issues affecting the MSMEs? The high level of NPAs that MSMEs have created within the banking system, the delay in payment by MSMEs which have crippled the transaction system, the high level of retrenchment across the sectors in MSMEs. All of this has been mentioned in some way or the other. So therefore, answer is all of the above. Then, question number 134. Which of the following has been mentioned as the reason why informal sector in MSMEs might take longer to recover? Clearly mentioned in the passage that the government support is only through formal channels, making the informal MSMEs very dubious, or you can say very unlikely to recover. So therefore, option C is the correct answer here. Option A also looks tempting because it is saying that informal sector is still reeling from the pandemic induced slowdown, and the para do mention about the pandemic situation in the opening paragraph. But then this is something which is acceptable for all sectors. It is not restricted to MSMEs. Pandemic की वजह से तो सारे ही sectors को कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ impact आया होगा. So A is ruled out in that case. So answer is here option C here. Coming to the last question, which of the following will undermine the last sentence of the passage? So most of the MSMEs operating in the formal sector source their requirements from the MSMEs in the informal sector. If you look at the last statement of the passage, it says that the informal MSMEs who operate mostly among themselves are likely to have suffered the most. So although they operate among themselves, but if the formal sectors, they source their materials, most of the MSMEs operating in the formal sectors, if they source their requirements from the informal sector, then in a way they will get the market here because they are getting demand from here. So therefore it is something which is obviously weakening the idea presented in the last sentence of the para. Hence option A is the correct answer here. So I believe that here there were quite a few passages, like passage number 1, passage number 2, passage number 4 and passage number 5. They were very easy to understand and very straightforward answers. And if we talk about passage number 6 and passage number 3, which was based on economy, wherein in fact majority of the students don't feel comfortable with passages related to economy and finance, but then the questions were direct here, they were not tough. So I believe that particularly in the CR section, if you would have devoted the required time, the requisite time, say somewhere close to 27 to 28 minutes, and if you have gone through and comprehended the passages very well, a score of 18 plus was quite an achievable score. So I would rate this particular section of this mock as moderate, easy to moderate. So 18 plus score was evident here. So that's all about the analysis of the critical reasoning section. Stay tuned for the further analysis of the further sections. Thank you.